Am I live? Of course I'm live. People, deluded. I'm back again. I'm under the weather. I'm on so many painkillers. I've had a blood test. I can't fast today, but the show must continue. This is the first of 3 bits and pieces of live content from myself. I hope you're doing well and safe. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. Obviously, big up to you lot on Twitch. Shout out to you lot on YouTube. Please make sure you're smashing the like button. Now, it was fantastic to win 7-1 against PSV and put our best foot forward in terms of the Champions League, at least at this moment in time. I can't say we can take our foot off the gas or be complacent, but we quote unquote can. But that's next week. We have Manchester United on Sunday. We need to get revenge after, getting dumped out of the FA Cup. West Ham weren't in the greatest of form when they beat us, but for obvious reasons, Arsenal versus Man United is a rivalry. Form does go out the window, but their form's on the floor. We need to tump them up. I'm sure you've got friends and family that support Manchester United, and despite them being in the bottom half of the table and being quite lucky that somehow there's teams worse than them in the Premier League, they have a lot of talking to do about Liverpool, about City, about my football club, Arsenal, and the title challenge. They need to face what's in front of them. And simply put, we need just to get back to winning for winning's sake. Now, I'm not going to isolate it away from obviously beating PSV. I'm not going to say we've turned the corner, we found our shooting boots, etc. But when you're in this peculiar situation where we're down on our luck, whether it's self-inflicted or whatever, with injuries, with inconsistent form, with the title gone, yes, mathematically you can still hope, but come on now, let's be brutally serious. We just need to win for winning's sake and attempt to end the season on the highest, amassing the highest points tally. And we ain't got time to feel sorry for ourselves. Like, it's one thing to talk about trophies. You've got Manchester United away coming up. You've got potentially either Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid to come in the future in the Champions League. You've got Chelsea next week. You've got Fulham coming up. There's no time for any of that, people. We have to keep it moving. Big up yourself, Pure Vibes. Riley, appreciate you. Lovely to see the regulars. So, yeah, man, we need to do what need be. Any questions, talking points, get them in, people, and feel no sort of way about asking anything. I believe, and again, I'm under the weather, man, but the show must go on. I believe I'm scheduled to obviously be live here, and then at 10 past 2, and then I'm going to have Jess at 4 p.m. Then we're going to go over to, that will probably be to about 4 till 5. Then we're going to go over to her channel, and then, yeah, it is what it is. Until tomorrow, really and truly. Big up you lot, man. Dane, you're part of the furniture here. Appreciate you. S, good morning. Right back at you. Big up Nepal, man. Shout Nepal in the building. But yeah, let's see what's going on. Keep your questions coming. Again, big up you lot who've hit the like button already. Let's see what's going on. I don't think we're going to get Yossi Benayoun as our sporting director, but he's still linked with us. Andreas Berta's linked with us. Sammy Mokbel has kind of spoken about Wanyeri and Lewis Skelly potentially being called up to either England's under-21s, which surely is a formality. They're skipping a couple of age groups, surely, or even the first team. So let's jump straight into everything, man. Hopefully you lot can see. Me zoom in a little bit just because I know some of you are probably watching on your phones and whatnot. Big up all the listeners who are not watching but listening. Arsenal's wonder kids Ethan Wanyeri and Miles Lewis Skelly set for England promotion. Let's see exactly what's being said. I mean, big ups whatever City's doing. We're not. It doesn't say we're interested in any battle for 50 million centre half, so we're not going to waste time here, man. Arsenal teenager Ethan Wanyeri is being considered for an England promotion following his brilliant form for Mikel Arteta's side. How do you lot feel about that? Because on one hand, I think they should just allow him to develop. Ethan's doing his thing. On the other hand, hey, go get your call up. It just shows the sky's the limit, and it's the thing of dreams. Him and Lewis Skelly have come through the academy. They're shining lights in a dark season for Arsenal. They're scoring goals. They're playing games. They're doing whatever. Tommy Tuchel probably wants to see him up close and personal. If that's a case of you get an England cap, he gets to see him up close and personal. Wanyeri comes back to the Arsenal fold and Lewis Skelly with even more fire in their belly. But I do understand just allowing it in it, really. And Wanyeri's had a lot of minutes in the legs for a young player in this current climate, people. And, to be honest with you, PSV was the first time he didn't look a bit leggy come the end of the game. So maybe you want this international period, if you're looking at it from a selfish Arsenal point of view, you're saying Benjamin White. You could argue if he's back in the England fold under Tommy Tuchel, he could do with some games. But wrap Ben White and Cotton Wool, wrap Wanyeri and Lewis Skelly and Cotton Wool. Hope to have Martinelli back. And it is what it is. Our two boys deserve a call up. They do. They really do, man. You got to get Stricto back. That football comedy is gold like the Invincibles. I will, man. I messaged him last week or the week before. He aired the DM, but people are busy, man. I'll give him another nudge and see what could happen in that regards, man. Glad you liked it though, man. Glad you liked it, boy. You're always here. Wanyeri must be in the England squad. I'm sure if you're Nigerian, you got small hopes for Wanyeri playing for Nigeria. I knew it was never going to happen, but Lewis Kelly had small hopes you might play for Barbados. We know how the game goes, people. But we know the 17-year-old has been excellent since the turn of the year after being thrust into a starting breath. And, there's a lot of development Wanyeri has to do. He's not quite a marked man yet. He's almost an unknown entity. Soon he's going to get the Saka treatment, doubled up against, tripled up against. He's playing off the right, which is one of the more free roles in Arsenal's team beyond anything. And I think it's very interesting. I know there's a lot said about the wingers under Mikel Arteta, but if you actually go to games or you actually watch the bench cam, you tell him you see him telling his wingers where to be. And if you go and look at, it's nothing to do with Arteta but if you go and look at the goal he scored against City, in the build-up play, he's got his hands up like this, and then there's a subsequent phase of play. It goes to him, he does his thing. I do think long-term, I see why Mikel Arteta would think he's a 9, because I know for a fact he's working on his weaker foot in training. He's probably the best finisher in the squad. He might take Trossard's title. I do think he'd end up in the Odegaard role, but I don't think he's ready to consistently perform in that kind of tight space. Playing out wide, you do get a bit more space. You do get a couple of yards to run into space. You don't necessarily get that. And of course, it's more playing with your back to goal. But for a 17-year-old, he's ahead of where he's supposed to be. And all of these kind of question marks I have, they're there anyways. Like with Lewis Skelly, it's just little minor things that have to improve. Lewis Skelly, don't remove the tigerish approach you have. Sometimes, defending, sometimes you've got to be firm and hard. Sometimes you've got to step off a bit. Just little minor things which we expect. And whether Wanyeri's going to be a right winger, a striker, a 10, an 8, if Lewis Skelly's going to be an 8, a 6, an inverted left back, who cares? These are good problems. Lord knows how much these players have saved us, man. I'd say they're about 50 million a piece, and their stock is rising, and that's a conservative one. So that's 100 million that's been thrust into our first team this season. And you hope there's a few more, really and truly. You look at a couple of the players in and around Hayland that have gone elsewhere and not made it here. We need to make more money, man. There's another world where we make some decent money off Koza Jewry, off Waters at Luton, off Brook Norton Coffee at Genoa, and so on and so forth. You get where I'm going. On the face of it, Smith Rowe and Ketia Balogun, you did make profit, but that needs to become the norm, especially if we're not going to do the Saudi thing and we're not going to buy 100-odd players for whatever. Love for the super chat. What you said there, Yossi Benayoun news must be fake. I believe it's fake, my boy, 100%. But it can humor us. One love for your super chat, and living up to your name. What is there to say? I don't believe the Benayoun thing, but for whatever reason, and we'll get onto it. And in fact, it's in here. If the Wanyeri, if the Andre Berta thing goes south, I'm not gonna lie. I don't want Rosicky. I don't want Yossi Benayoun. I'd more have Rosicky in that kind of realm, but I want an experienced man, whether that's a Larby or something. I want someone that obviously can tie into Arsenal's values, know how he wants to do things. Obviously, he needs to assess what we do as a club and the working practices of the Cronkies and thrive within that. But I want someone that's not emotionally tied to us. Obviously, they will get emotionally tied and they will want to do their best work. But I'm sure you lot get what I'm saying in it. Like, I just want someone that can just, rightly or wrongly, there's no emotion attached to why they're doing things. They're just coming in to make a mark. And with Edu, he did have a bit of experience. He did work with Brazil and whatnot. But I just want, we tried the everybody learning together thing. Now let's get someone experienced. We fumbled the last 2 transfer windows. I don't know. And I was thinking about which one are you lot more annoyed about, the summer or January, people, in the last 2 transfer windows? Because for me, I still maintain the summer, because that's where the little optimism I had about winning trophies left, because we finished 2 points off City. We improved defensively. We didn't add to the starting 11. Like, I think Calafiori is going to be a great player for Arsenal Football Club. I think Marino is decent, and Neto and Sterling, it sums up what I'm saying. We was panicking on deadline day for them too, right? If we just look under the guise of win now, trying to win now across a 38-game period, Calafiori is not one of the first names on the team sheet. An academy player at the moment for whatever circumstances, in Lewis Kelly is. Marino, by default, is having to play up front. He's not getting into our starting 11. So decent squad play. We didn't sign anybody in that regards that takes it up a level. And for all the optimism that Arteta and the Cronkies and everyone said, we didn't have a market that was serious. We did not have a market that was serious. Yeah, people can say Liverpool didn't buy anyone, and it's true. But I guess when you've got Trent, Van Dijk, Salah, and the rest of it, and they're free game changes in their own right, we don't have that. We've got Saka. A lot of the questions we had last season and a lot of the problems we face now, we knew about them. Like none of it's new. Then I look at January. In fact, let's do a poll for that. In fact, people, smash the like button if you haven't. Then I look at January, and yeah, there's a bit of a discount where January is concerned. Naturally, yeah, it's difficult to do business. All of that kind of jazz, all of that kind of rhetoric, all of that kind of stuff is relevant. But at the end of the day, that was our, and there's no guarantee we would have signed guys and got better, but that was our last chance saloon to somewhat buffer the squad. And yeah, I hear there's no players on the market. There might not have been quality. We didn't do anything though. That's my thing. We didn't do anything. You didn't do no loans, either at home or abroad. You didn't accelerate any summer players. You did nothing. And it was predictable that we'd end up in this current mess. And when you look at the media rhetoric, fair enough. I've never had a conversation with Jason Ito, who's apparently doing great business in January, and Mikel Arteta, but we did nothing. Like we did absolutely nothing, and that tells me that you thought we had enough. And when you look at the media rhetoric, when Saka got injured, it wasn't necessarily that should have been the first panic. We should have panicked off the basis of the January period of the summer, sorry, anyways. But when Saka got injured, there weren't necessarily panic. It was Gabriel Jesus' one that kind of, you could see, like, it seemed like there was a bit, oh, we need a body here. But they clearly, whether it's because we're going to get one of the top 5 places and that gets you Champions League football. Obviously, at the time, we weren't 13 points clear. They, rightly or wrongly, they thought we had enough. And that, for me, tells me everything, people, at this moment in time. What was I going to ask you lot in the poll? How do I formulate this? Oh, yeah. Are you more annoyed about Jan or the summer? Let's go Jan. Let's go. Smash the like button, people. Let's go summer. And let's slap that in there, people. Let's slap that in there. So, yeah, man, we know Wanyeri's been doing his thing. Apparently, his performances have led to calls for Wanyeri to be fast-tracked into Thomas Tuchel's senior squad. Despite the fact he's yet to feature for the 21s, accelerate that. I swear Saka did. Internally at the FA, the prospect of Wanyeri going into Tuchel's squad is not being completely ruled out. I mean, Kobe Mainoo did it. Like, he played well for 5 minutes and got called up. But there's a view the youngster would benefit from at least one call-up for the 21s, which is true. Wanyeri has 9 call-ups for the 9 teams, but is on course to be moved up into either the 21s or the seniors. And generally, away from Lewis Skelly or Wanyeri or any team, yeah, if you're in the 19s, you get boosted up to the 21s. That means somebody that was talented in the 19s that couldn't play or wasn't going to play because Wanyeri's there, they get opportunities. So that's what they should do, man. I mean, he could be called up for the 21s and play against France or Portugal. I'm not going to lie, if you get called up for the 21s, as disrespectful as it might be, just pull a sick note, Wanyeri, man. We think about this season. The call-ups aren't going anywhere. If you get called up for the first team or the senior team, fair play, man. And what a goal that was, bro. Phil Foden, check your mirrors. Uncomfortable conversations. Wanyeri's cold, as we know, man. He's cold. And obviously, Lewis Skelly is apparently also in line for an upgrade in his international status. And what could help Lewis Skelly as well is the left back, England's left back role. It looks like fair game. There's not really a standout candidate. You know, Thomas Tuchel could call up someone he knows in what's his name, Chilwell. Luke Shaw's not fit. Lewis Hall, I imagine, has been having a good season and would have been called up. Unfortunately, he's got injured. Who's really the standout left-back candidates for England? I'm not saying Lewis Skelly's going to be the one and only, but he's got a good chance of getting in there, especially in what I expect Tuchel to play free at the back, etc., etc. Salute, DG. Great result in Europe the other night in Holland. World Boss, appreciate you because you're always here in the comments. And you're right, it was a great night. But that's the thing for me. Ironically, like you said, with the alluding to the 7-1 victory against PSV, and we all know we battered City 5-1. It's not that it doesn't mean anything. And you could also throw in Bournemouth a few years ago and many a year ago against Leicester. I want these to mean something, like a trophy rather than little Arsenal folklore. And I'm sure you all do as well. Lewis Skelly and Wanyeri have been near inseparable ever since they joined Arsenal's academy together at the age of 8. And that is set to continue in their England careers too. Okay, we know this. Are you lot going to say anything else? So these lot could be called up, essentially. We'll have to see. Lewis Hall's injured. Lewis Skelly and Wanyeri, wish you all the best. Heysland of Bournemouth's a good player, but that ain't got nothing to do with us. Where's the Arsenal sporting director? Why not keep both of them? I can't lie. If City get this Jeremy Mongan guy from Leicester, who's 15, they're cheating, man. There we go. Arsenal closing in on new sporting director. Arsenal are still to make a final decision on the identity of their next sporting director, though the process is drawing to a close. We did hear in March we'd have a decision or a conclusion on that. The Mail Sport understands the shortlist has been whittled down to 4 candidates, with a final round of internal discussions still to take place. So while Andrea Berra has been linked with us, and you would be led to believe this week he is the sporting director for Arsenal, and he might be, maybe it's not as close as people are suggesting. And Andrea Berra has been heavily linked with the position in recent days and is among the shortlisted contenders for the position vacated by Edu, who is on course to take up a position with Nottingham Forest owner Evangelos Merenkis' stable of clubs. However, discussions over Edu's replacement are ongoing, with no formal offer made it to any candidate as things stand. So we haven't made the decision. Internal sporting director Jason Ito is also a candidate, having impressed internally during his temporary stint in the position. Okay, what have you done? And again, I'm not a fly on the wall, but you didn't bring no signings in. I ain't heard Saka and them man have signed new deals. Maybe in hindsight, if we see some summer signings when the time comes and we find out in January before Jason Ito was the driving force, fair enough. But what have you been impressed with? And what have you been impressed with that you wouldn't have been impressed with before? He was Edu's number 2. He fully knows the working practices. And I'll be real, I feel sorry for Jason Ito. I don't, but I do, because I do see the rhetoric on social media, people slagging him off and slating him and things. He's not putting himself in this position. And I mean, who would turn down a chance to progress their career? He's not putting himself in this position. We've got a summer intern, which is a bit disrespectful to Jason Ito, and we're trying to make him a CEO of a company. And it doesn't shock me that someone that's out of their depth is thrown in the January period and they're struggling. But me hearing that you've impressed internally, what have you done? Because to me, from a sporting front, you haven't done anything. If I don't think anyone's happy with our window, so if he's impressing, that's on song with the Cronkies, and whether that's good enough for us or not is another thing. Jason Ito, you can stay at the club, but it's a number 2 thing, man. You work under Berta, get him up to speed with Arsenal's processes, listen to him, make it happen, man. Maybe one day, 10 years from now, this could be you, but or go to a next club. We ain't got time for that. The fact Ito has been part of the process of putting together Arsenal's transfer plans ahead of the summer window is viewed as an advantage by certain figures at the Emirates, though other influential individuals see merit in taking an experienced and high-profile external appointment. It would appease the fans. I think they need that. And if you put the building blocks in the framework, then an experienced man can come in and just dot I's and cross T's. They don't really mean much to me, people. But yeah, shout out Pogba for helping Gaza as well. But it seems like that is it with that. England's new number 9. The FA have been alerted to the blistering form of Mika Bereth, who has scored 10 goals in 7 games since joining Monaco. To be fair, I'm surprised he ain't been called up by Denmark. The 22-year-old former Arsenal man joined the Ligue 1 club in January and has since scored 3 hat-tricks in his first 7 games. Now, that obviously he's a good player, but that level of scoring is abnormal. It's not going to last. I remember Balogun was doing it. Everyone was waffling. The French top flight forward record that has not gone unnoticed by figures inside the governing body. I mean, they're doing what they're supposed to do. We all know he was at Fulham. He then obviously rocked up at Arsenal. He was sold to Stuttgart last summer, and in January he found himself at Monaco. He's currently in Denmark's pathway. It's crazy, you know, how Denmark have him and Chido Obi Martin. I wonder if England will be having little conversations with them. That's irrelevant to us. So moving on. Speaking of Nwaneri, he has been named Arsenal's Player of the Month for February 2025. He deserves that. And he joins the list of Players of the Month so far this season. You know, in August, Saka won it. In September, David Raya won it. In October, Bukayo Saka won it. In November, Bukayo Saka won it. Obviously, that was Saka's season to a halt. Gabriel Jesus had a bit of a purple patch in December, carrying up the theme with Brazilians. Magalhaes did his thing. And now in February, you got Nwaneri. Well, to be fair, I'd say Lewis Skelly at a point this season. Lewis Skelly, Thomas Partey, Timber, surely they're in line. And you know what? We know Saka's amazing, but it just puts in context how important Saka really is for us, and the correlation between him basically getting injured in December and us going down the hill. And it puts into perspective, who would you give your player of the season to? Because I do think there's a lot of candidates. I think Partey's kind of dropped off, but I think Partey's been good this season. I would give it Gabriel Magalhaes. I think Timber's a real worthy candidate. I think you could say Nwaneri or Lewis Skelly. And I also think you have to hail up David Raya. I know we beat PSV and David Raya at that moment where he's bugging out. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, man. Where would you lot be with that? Let me know. Who is Andrea Berta, Arsenal target sporting director with proven transfer record? after taking a career in banking. Okay, that's music to the Cronkies' ears. As long as you're a football man, which no doubt you are, made the leap into football in his early 30s when taking a job as sporting director at lower league Italian club FC Copandolo. Hey, I'm approaching 30 in April. I might have a career change, you know. Imagine from YouTube to the boardroom people or the scouting network. Anyway, smash the like button. His work there began to attract the attention of more high-profile outfits and eventually led in '07 to the sporting director role at Parma and then 2 years later at Genoa. After helping Genoa to solidify their Serie A status following their recent promotion, Berta joined Atletico Madrid in 2013, reportedly on the recommendation of former Manchester United and Chelsea executive Peter Kenyon. I mean, if you get a recommendation from him, you're doing all right. Initially appointed as part of the club's international scouting department. So, okay, so you know how to, I'm sure your own homeland in Italy, you know what you're doing. I know I don't have any evidence, but you must know about South America. Let's make this happen, man. Initially appointed as part of the club's international scouting department, Berta's influence in Madrid steadily grew, and in 2017 he was promoted to sporting director. He held that post until mutual termination of his contract in January this year. Across his 11-year association with the club, Atletico won 2 La Liga titles, the Copa del Rey, the Europa League, and both Spanish and European Super Cups. Though there were suggestions of their relationship souring in recent years, Berta had been held as a key factor in keeping Simeone at the club, and in 2019 was named Sporting Director of the Year at the Globe Soccer Awards. I don't know what soccer is, but maybe it's football. At Atletico, Berta was hailed for his part in signing several of the players who would become a core part of the club's success. Prior to leaving Atletico earlier this year, the 53-year-old had been linked with a number of major European clubs, including PSG and Man United. He was also linked with both Chelsea and Newcastle around the time of their respective takeovers. And according to reports in the Italian press, has recently turned down AC Milan. AC Milan, who are going through a turbulent period themselves. And him as an Italian, we know AC Milan's a great club, but him as an Italian, there might be more of a pull. So I wonder why he turned that down. Early in his time at Atletico, Berta was hailed for his part in signing several of the players who would become a core part of the club's success over the past decade, including Oblak, Griezmann, Rodri, and Carrasco. His record of profitable sales is also strong, including that of Thomas Partey to Arsenal, though there had been some expensive missteps in Athletics recruitment on Berta's watch, most notably in the signings of João Felix and Thomas Partey for around a combined 180 million. Now, you can't get everything right in it, so you can hold that, but yeah, Thomas Lemar, who won once upon a time was going to sign for Arsenal. João Felix, great attacking player, going to a great defensive system. It's not going to happen. I mean, that's all. You could argue that's our issue at Arsenal. When we actually do spend big money, there's a debate. I think Declan Rice is mustard, but some people say, do you need to spend that amount of money on a player like Declan Rice? With the greatest of respect, Kai Havertz, we've been here before. I don't need to remind you a lot of Pepe. I do think our club is a bit too scared after. And again, you don't want to be reckless, but signings, whether you sign them for £1, get them for free, or millions of pounds, can always flop. I do feel we feel a bit burned by the Pepe thing, in which I've been wrong about a lot of stuff. I promise you, if you go back early enough, I got a lot of heat for saying Pepe is not the guy. Not because I think Pepe was a bad player. I knew we got swindled because he was only good for 18 months. He looked good on the YouTube and that. But anyways, more recently, Berta helped enact a rebuild of Simeone's side last summer that included the arrivals of Alvarez, Skorlov, Conor Gallagher, and currently has Atletico within a point of Barcelona at the top of the La Liga table, while still in the Champions League and Copa del Rey contention. And we might get to see the fruits of his labor, depending on if Atletico can complete a comeback against Real Madrid, which, as you lot know, is a lot easier said than done. What do you lot make of the Arteta and Henry rhetoric? I see social media fans saying he's jealous and this and that. I do think, yeah, there's a reason the Jens Lehmanns, the Thierry Henrys, the Emmanuel Petits, they're nowhere near the club in an official capacity, in the sense of they say the honest truth. They don't just blow smoke up their asses, the club's asses. And for me, sometimes I do think there's a weird section of social media Arsenal fan bases that don't like Thierry Henry. The man's a king. He wants Arsenal to be better. It's as simple as that. And I do think it's a thing where, again, nobody's above criticism, Henry included. But for me, it's, you've got the messenger, which is Henry, and the message. A lot of people that are tearing into Henry actually agree with the message. It's just the fact that he's saying this. Arsenal legend Thierry Henry did not hold back as he laid into how the Gunners appear to have gone backwards under Arteta in recent times. And there's also many a video where he's praised Mikel Arteta. and said, I'm not Mikel Arteta in, out, I'm Arsenal and whatnot. Let's see exactly what the man said. He said, yeah, there'll be tougher tests than this for the Gunners, but this is still a team that have beaten Liverpool and Juventus in the Champions League this season. Is that it? You must have said a bit more. I'm sure there's been other points, but if that is what's made social media go crazy, then I don't know. I do not know what's going on. And in fact, even with that, Thierry Henry, there's got to be more, man. Thierry Henry, Arteta, there's got to be more than that. Like, I can't believe that's what people are crying with. Okay, let's see this. Maybe this is it. Arsenal are worrying me. Okay, let's see. Let's see exactly what he said. We know Havertz isn't playing now. We know that Odegaard was injured at the beginning of the season. But this is the same team. How come now you don't create anymore? Yes, you score goals on set pieces. We ain't done that since September. But suddenly you don't anymore. You don't score goals. Set pieces are great and they bail us out in a lot of games. Why I'm worried as a fan is that we don't create as much as we were doing before. The first year when we nearly won the league, we surprised them, in brackets, other teams. And then they knew what you're about. Along the way, we lost what we were about in terms of playing. Fair enough. When asked about injuries and not creating enough, he said, ask Arteta. Fair enough. And then he said, why is Salah not pulling his hamstring? I mean, there is a greater debate with players needing rest and all of the games that these guys play. But I do think that's a twofold. There has been times Saka has needed rest. We have played him into the ground. But at the same time, this unfortunately is the current reality. The top players play a lot of games, rightly or wrongly. What is being done in terms of the rehab? Is there something that we're doing internally this season that we weren't doing last? You know, was there signs of this potential drop-off, not just with Saka, but the broader landscape of stuff, which I believe is the case, and we didn't help ourselves? I can't remember the manager, but another manager completely irrelevant from Arsenal said a lot of these players have been playing stupid amounts of games for club and country in the last couple of years. We all know the Euros and you're playing a drop-off. So there's probably that, man. But why isn't Salah? Maybe it's a coincidence, but why isn't Salah? Why has Salah never pulled his hamstring? Does he not play the same amount of games? To win the league as a coach, when you go into meetings, you try to see who's at risk, what we can do to make sure nobody gets injured. Winning the league isn't only off the ball, on the ball in the transition, defending. You have everybody there fit to be able to play. I can't see what Henry said wrong. And even the Champions League, when I'm seeing Inter's defensive record, when I'm seeing Barca win with 10 men, Liverpool took... And that was real life FM. Big up to you that was part of my watch along yesterday. That was real life Football Manager. And I think PSG gave a great example. Obviously, PSG are better than us in terms of the couple of their plays and whatnot. But how they lost is exactly how Arsenal lose games. Defensive third, you're right. Middle third, you're right. Moving it left and right. Alisson, man of the match for Liverpool, without a doubt. But you didn't take your chances. Liverpool get one chance down the end and score. Are we able to win in these conditions? This is what the Champions League is about. This is almost what the Premier League's about, but champs is all we should be talking about. Admittedly, I must admit, I don't think Thierry Henry said anything wrong there. Mikel Moreno described his sudden transition into Arsenal's new striker because of their injury crisis as crazy. My friend, it really is crazy. Just try your best and keep scoring and assisting. It's been an experience with mixed results, which is true. It's kind of crazy, to be honest, but at the same time, it's about having the right mentality, the right approach to the game. If the coach tells you to play in one position, all right, you have to take all your characteristics and put it on the table for the team. I'm trying to adapt. I'm trying to do things the best way possible. And obviously, some days will be better, some days will be worse. But the work is there every day, the grind. Fair enough. That's all we can ask you for, Marino, man. That's it. He then said, people, on if we can win the champs, I think it has to be the goal of every single team in the tournament, and it's ours for sure. Fair enough. Can't disagree with that. Don't want you to say anything different. We are here to win every single game. And if we do what we know we can do in the end, I think we'll be close to winning it. Inshallah, man. And then when asked on the last time he played, as an attacker, he said it was a long time ago. I was 7 years old. I was in my school team with the kids there. I mean, I was playing everywhere, not only as a striker. It was 5 kids running around the pitch. But now is the time I'm playing as a striker, and it's something new for me. I'm trying to adapt the best possible way. I've been lucky enough to score an assist today against PSV, so I think I'm helping the team. I'm doing the best I can. Fair enough. I've been talking with the analysts, the boss as well. I pride myself in trying to understand what happens on the pitch, not only in my position as a number 8, but also other positions of other teammates. I think understanding what happens on the pitch in other situations also helps you in your role. So I can understand what a striker has to do in this team. At the same time, I think the other teammates understand what an 8 has to do. It's a group thing. Everybody knows what everyone has to do, and that's the way we work, and it's really helpful for me. Now, fair enough, man. You keep that up. Arsenal and Chelsea find themselves embroiled in a four-club battle for the signature of Samu from Porto. It's easy to link Arsenal with any striker under the planet. We've been linked with Samu now, Hugo Ekitike. Every now and again, our name's thrown next to Gyökeres. Obviously, primarily, it's all Isaac and Sesko hype and whatnot. Smash the like button and let me know your thoughts. But I mean, 20 years of age, was wanted by Chelsea, rocked up at Porto, ironically was at Atletico Madrid, 20 goals in 32 outings. I don't know if the Portuguese league has a bit of tax, but that's going to put you on a lot of the radars. The only thing that scares me about the Portuguese league is when you see some of the top goal scorers, Darwin Núñez, Carlos Vinicius, I'm sure that's his name, he was at Spurs, Jackson Martinez, it ain't Bastos. No disrespect to any of them. And I'm not saying Gyökeres goes out like that because he's actually got some transferable experience in England. They've not really gone and done anything really or kind of continued that. So maybe that's something. But where Samu's concerned, the 20-year-old has once again put his name on the map. There are suggestions he could already leave Porto after just a year. Bolo reports there are 4 Premier League clubs with concrete interest in Samu. The Portuguese outlet claims Arsenal, Chelsea, who were linked with him when he was at Atletico, Aston Villa, who need to replace Duran, and West Ham are all keeping a close eye on Samu's development at Porto with a view to a potential summer switch. Interestingly, the outlet does not mention Man United despite their links with the Spain international. Chelsea have retained their interest. Arsenal have different priority targets, chiefly Benjamin Sesko and Isaac. However, Samu could ultimately prove to be a viable alternative. That said, the youngster won't come cheap. He boasts a 100 million release clause. They're not going to get 100 million, but British club going for their players, they're going to want something significant, especially in this day and age. Victor Osimhen is reportedly unlikely to join Arsenal this summer, despite rumours linking him with a big money move to the Emirates. I mean, we could have told you that. Apparently, Arsenal have also initiated contact with Osimhen's reps, as per multiple reports, although Charles Watts has poured cold water on rumours linking the Nigerian with a move to North London. Fair enough. I'm always a bit skeptical when I hear links of Victor Osimhen and Arsenal. There was some interest in him a few years ago, but I've not heard anything since then to suggest the constant speculation linking the Nigerian striker with a move to North London as much merit to it. He's a top striker, there's no doubt about that, but Arsenal have others who are well ahead of him in their list of potential summer targets, if he even is on their list of targets at all. And again, we are still linked with Sesko, people. Is anything new here before we continue? No, so let's continue. Let's continue. Arsenal are one of the clubs interested in Hugo Ekitike for the summer. His price is around 80 million euros allegedly. And again, allegedly, Eintracht Frankfurt expect him to leave. The 22-year-old who has 18 goals in 34 games at the time of making this video, people have to see. Apparently, Arsenal are now interested in 67 million striker who is already in close contact with Henry. Again, Hugo Ekitike wouldn't be against it. Shouldn't have moved to PSG when he did. Found his feet now. Could it be worth staying at Frankfurt? It's a World Cup year. You've got that stability. By the same edge of that, moving to a bigger club could boost your chances, but you do need to adapt. Apparently, he's got a release clause of 67 million. Almost like a poor man's Isaac. Omri has apparently given him advice in the past, and he said, I called Hugo. I wanted to know where he was. I'm not going to tell you about our discussion. He knows what he has to do, not just what I expect and what he has to do next. We'll see what happens. It's not easy to find yourself in this kind of situation. We must remember that a year ago, everybody wanted him. The competition up front in Paris is going to be intense. You made that move far too early. And again, apparently West Ham are at the front of the queue where that's concerned, people. Apparently, Florian Plattenberg of Sky Germany said they're almost 99% expecting Ekitike to leave the club in the summer, as there's already concrete interest from many clubs. I mean, everybody wants strikers. Arsenal have made RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko their number one transfer priority for the summer, and the prolific striker has now sent Mikel Arteta's club an indication he's open to join. 21-year-old has 17 goals in 34 matches for RB Leipzig. He got 4 goals in 8 games in their short-lived, as it says, their Champions League campaign. We tried to get him in January. Apparently, he's ahead of Victor Gyökeres, Osimhen, and some other names on Arsenal shortlist. Liverpool apparently now tracking him as well. Allegedly, Arsenal are well placed. Smash the like button, people. Are well placed to fend off this interest despite the remarkable season the Reds are having. Sesko would prefer a move to London, meaning that Chelsea could emerge as a more realistic rivals to his signature, despite interest from Manchester United, Newcastle United, and obviously Aston Villa. Sesko's release clause will not have to be met. In another major boost for Arsenal, it's become apparent that Sesko's release clause of 70 million euros will not need to be met for Sesko to be sold. Apparently, Leipzig will not demand that his release clause is paid in full as long as the price tag and overall deal is seen to be suitable. So that makes sense. We pay, you're allowing us to structure the deal how we want to structure it and pay it however we want to pay it. That is why Sesko, on top of obviously his ability and his age and all of that stuff, probably why he features on the list. Liverpool have been linked with him, people, so we've kind of read that. We'll have to see. Everyone's going to be on to everyone. Sky Germany also said a couple of days ago, until now, there had only been talk of a verbal agreement, but Sesko has a formally fixed release clause in his contract until 2029. This clause can be activated starting this summer. It is tied to various parameters such as games played, goals and assists, and increases regularly. Currently, the current clause stands at around 70 million euros for the 21-year-old top striker. But by the end of the season, it's expected to reach approximately 80. All top English clubs have expressed interest, including Man United, Spurs, which is not a top club, and Arsenal. The only club not involved in the race is Manchester City. Yossi Benayoun allegedly is in talks to become our sporting director. I don't believe a word of this. You never know, because it says a four-man shortlist. It seems like Berta's the front runner. I hope Alabi's there. I know we're not getting Luis Campos, but I hope he's there. And just for the sake of it, Jason Ito, in it, you can get an interview, feel part of it, but you're staying as the number two. I don't believe, maybe even Thomas. I'd rather Thomas Rosicky, because when you read into some of what he's doing at Sparta Prague, it seems like he's doing okay. And I don't want Rosicky. I want someone experienced. What has Yossi Benayoun done? Like, where is he? You ain't done anything. And you played for Arsenal, but you're not an Arsenal man. You played all about the place, man. Football Jezebel, really. But the 44-year-old had successful spells in the Prem with West Ham. It's probably where he's best known from. He did play for Liverpool, did play for Chelsea, did play for Arsenal. Of course, I'd be interested in a sporting director role in England, but I'm also a pro-licensed coach. Let's see what comes up. That's great. You go do your thing elsewhere. That doesn't mean anything. Trossard is still being linked with a move to Saudi Arabia, folks. Allegedly, Joshua Kimmich is reportedly not keen on joining Arsenal on a free transfer. The 30-year-old midfielder has less than 4 months remaining on his current contract at Bayern Munich, who have offered him an extension, but so far has been underwhelmed by his response. Allegedly, we expressed an interest. It's not going to make sense for Arsenal because he's going to have to take a wage cut if he was to sign for us. He's on like 300 odd grand. That's before we talk about Saliba, Saka, Gabriel Magalhaes's new deals or bringing in other top players. And he's 30 years of age. We're not going to give him a 3-year deal or something at 30 and that money. So it was always a myth. And bring in Zubamendi and do everything else. So it was always a myth. It was always nonsense. We'll have Kimmich. And it does seem, it was quite interesting after the Bayern Munich game. It does seem like he's open to staying at Munich. We'll never know, people. But apparently PSG have made a concrete offer for him as well. And to be fair, PSG, you only have yourselves to blame as to why you didn't beat Liverpool. Had a million chances, you didn't put the ball in the back of the net. So maybe you need attackers. Arteta's to hit 200 Premier League games as manager when we play Man United. Hopefully that's capped off with a win. Stan Kroenke and KSE have just sealed 12 billion feet with Arsenal that no one in the world can match. The final analysis of Kroenke's time at Arsenal as Arsenal owner, his legacy will be judged on trophies won, but the billionaire himself has a very different set of KPIs. Adam Williams, I hear it. Silverware is a bonus, of course, and financial success is often wrapped up in achievements on the pitch. We know winning the Champions League is lucrative, but ultimately, if the choice is a few more trophies in the cabinet or an extra billion, Stan Kroenke's mind is already made up. You don't get on the Bloomberg Billionaires Index by making sentimental decisions. By how Kroenke's rank among football's richest private owners. He is third between Arsenal and the Colorado Rapids. Yeah, he's third. How are they judging this? Where's the Saudi dons? Anywho, people, to date, the head honcho of KSC Sports and Entertainment has taken very little money out of Arsenal, at least not in relative terms. Since the Denver headquartered investment group took majority control of Arsenal in 2011, they've banked a few million in payments for services plus a token sum in directors' fees. But for the enterprise, with revenue of 617 million per their recent released accounts, that is chump change. Revenue's gone up. Sporting success hasn't. The real worth of Arsenal to the Kroenkes is the club's value as a business, which they will one day sell. Inshallah. That is the capital appreciation model: buy low and sell high, which from a business point of view, you can't mock that. Smash the like button, folks. KSC. Oh, what's this? What's Twitch saying? Hello? Anywho, continuing, people. The show must go on. KSC have injected 324 million into the club via interest-free loans, which are repayable with 2 years' notice. It may well be they are never repaid, which in case the sum will likely be factored into the sale price. Unlike Kroenke's franchises in US sport, Arsenal are not consistently profitable. In fact, they haven't made a financial year in the green since 2017-18. Maybe that's why there was a push of out. There's been this sentimental sell to buy kind of thing, despite being healthy financially, with total losses in that time approaching 330 million. The Gunners are also the odd one out in the KSC network in that they are yet to win either of their sport's two biggest prizes, the Prem and Champions League, under the Kroenke ownership. The LA Rams, Denver Nuggets, Colorado Avalanche, Colorado Rapids, and Colorado Mammoth have all won their respective leagues on the other side of the Atlantic. The Rams are Super Bowl winners. The Nuggets are NBA champions. The Colorado Avalanches, two-time Stanley Cup. So that's ice hockey. Colorado Rapids won the MLS Cup in 2010. Colorado Mammoth, which is lacrosse. Ain't no one watching that. They're two-time champions. Arteta did win the FA Cup. Pardon me. We're lacking. But despite the relative lack of success on the pitch, Kroenke will be content as long as Arsenal's enterprise value keeps on rising at a healthy clip. And you know, it's funny. A couple months ago, I promise you, you go on Sky Sports, you go on The Athletic, you go on the Daily Mail. They were all writing articles prior to us obviously being 13 points off, how the Kroenkes have changed Arsenal, how the Kroenkes have changed their image. Boy, it is what it is, people. It is what it is. And there is rumors of expanding the Emirates, by the way. KSE Empire valued at over 12.5 billion. Arsenal at the bottom of the pile. Don't know what to say. If the Kroenkes are so rich, why didn't Arsenal sign anyone in Jan? I like this. You know what, journalist? You might be the first journalist Don I got time for. We were linked to Isaac. We were linked to Ollie Watkins. We know there's been injuries. In truth, the reason for their lack of ambition and decisiveness in the transfer market is likely because the risk-benefit financial analysts did not meet the threshold. Boy, spending 100 plus in a window where teams historically have overpaid was, in their view, probably not worth it. They believe they will get much better value for money in the summer. That's true, but there was a season to play this year. It's completely alien concept to real football fans, but the cost-expense ratio a club generally needs to get into the top four is sometimes more valuable than going for broke to win silverware. When will Kroenke decide to sell Arsenal? Never, man. This is getting passed down for generations. There are many in the industry who believe that the value of Premier League clubs could be a bubble, and bubbles burst when the price of an asset surpasses its inherent value. Also, someone working in the investment sector where the value is in owning a club like Arsenal will invariably get a long-winded, often eccentric answer. The North Londoners' biggest asset is their intellectual property, the brand which allows them to sell tickets, merchandise, and bolster the value of media rights from which they benefit. But football has a monetization problem. Arsenal are one of the most followed clubs in the world, but their earnings on per fan basis, like any club with a global purse, are tiny. Technology is seen as the way to rectify that situation. Kroenke has invested in shared reality firm Cosm, for example, who he thinks can be a route for overseas fans to spend more money in football. Damn. Besides technology, the value of broadcast rights, blah, yada, yada, yada. So what's going on? Previously, Kroenke has looked to break away projects such as the European Super League. That didn't bang. But whatever Kroenke's exit value and his plan is to get there, Arsenal, we are a long way from it. While his asset is worth 200% more than the circa 1 billion he has invested to take 100% control of the club, he'll want to push the mark up further, much further in the coming years. Boy, is what it is. What has Charles Watts said? According to Charles Watts, speaking to Court Offside, he has spoken. It wouldn't surprise me if we see one big sell at Arsenal this summer. There were plenty of departures. But by big sell, I mean one of the established first team players who have been key under Arteta over the past 2 seasons. It's been suggested that one of Trossard or Martinelli could be let go to help boost the club's funds in the summer. I would say Trossard would be the more likely of the two should an offer arrive. Fair enough. And they're estimating 15 to 20 million for Trossard. There is interest in the winger from Saudi Arabia. Arsenal rejected an offer that arrived late last summer, but could be open to a sale this summer, depending on how talks go over a new contract. Does Trossard want to go Saudi, where you might have one World Cup with Belgium left? Would that put you at risk? I don't know. Trossard will only have a year remaining on his deal at the end of the season, and if an agreement on extension has not been reached by then, it could be that Arsenal would let him go should a good bid come in. The attacker will be 31 in December, so you would think an offer of anything between 15 and 20 million this summer would be reasonable given his contractual situation. And obviously, Martinelli is still linked with a bunch of clubs. Allegedly, Arsenal are expected to launch an assault on the La Liga market during the summer transfer window, with moves for 2 players in particular being lined up with Martin Zubimendi and Nico Williams. Barcelona are expected to forego the possible signing of Nico Williams. I mean, they're trying to get Rafinha to sign a new deal. Arsenal are hoping that Williams will relax his stance on staying this summer. Atletico have no plans to negotiate with any interested clubs, although that does not matter for the Premier League side, as Football Transfers have reported that they are prepared to activate his release clause, which is believed to be worth in the region of 58 million euros. As per the report, Williams' possible arrival at Arsenal does not depend on any sales, which is conflicting, meaning that nothing would stand in the way of bringing the 22-year-old to North London, at least on their end. However, it's far from certain they'll be able to convince him to leave Athletic. So far, he's shown no desire to leave, and despite extremely strong pressure from Barcelona last summer, he stood firm on remaining at his boyhood club for at least one more season. Okay? So nothing said about Zubimendi in particular there. We are again linked with Ademola Lookman. Apparently, he's been offered to Arsenal with a report revealing the names of other Premier League clubs who have been approached by the forwards reps. It does look like his time in Italy and at Atalanta is coming to an end. Still linked with Juventus, PSG, Arsenal, and everyone in the Prem. 27-year-old has 49 goals and 22 assists in 108 games in all comps so far in his career for Atalanta. This season, he's got 17 goals and 7 assists in 30 appearances. Did have a falling out, of course, with Gasperini after a missed pen. Apparently, he's looking to leave Atalanta this summer and has been offered to Arsenal, folks. Apparently, reps of the Nigerian ace have approached Arsenal to gauge their interest over a potential move in the summer. Lookman wanted to leave Atalanta last summer, and following the controversy with Gasperini, he is ready to cut ties with the Serie A outfit at the end of the season. Smash the like button, folks. And is seriously considering a return to the Premier League. Spurs have approached his reps. Liverpool, Aston Villa, West Ham, Juventus, Napoli allegedly have all been alerted to the situation. And yeah, he's looking to leave, people. It's an important summer for him. And we're not looking to sell Martinelli, according to Ben Jacobs. We've gone over Kimmich. PSG apparently throwing their hat in the ring. Arsenal have not started talks with Thomas Partey over a new contract. His current deal runs out this summer. Barcelona, Juventus, and PSG are all interested. Ticket prices actually are going up. Season ticket prices are going up, Arsenal fans. Much like everything in life, it's all passed to the consumers. Allegedly, Barcelona are preparing a 45 million euro offer for Gabi Martinelli. And yeah, man. Granit Xhaka is not happy with Michael Oliver. You can leave the Prem, but Michael Oliver is still haunting people that don't play here. That kind of penalty wouldn't be given from him in the Premier League. Disappointing. I know Michael from England. But Barcelona are considering a move for Newcastle's Bruno Guimaraes, who is also of interest to Arsenal and City. City could probably go for him. If Barca got the money, it's fair to say Arsenal are not going for Bruno Guimaraes. Man United have looked at Burnley's James Trafford and Espanyol's Juan Garcia as potential replacements for Onana. Only mention that obviously because Onana is someone that isn't good enough, and obviously we've been linked with Garcia. After this stream, people, I'm going to be live with Zara. None of you have hit the like button on this video or that video. Haters, people. 4 p.m. I'll have Jess as well. So yeah, the content does not stop. But that appears to be everything. Let me see what you lot are saying, because I just wanted to get through all of that. Hit the like button, folks. Only takes a minute. Derek, tell them again. How many players do you feel we need to bring in what positions? It's mad because on one hand, I don't feel we need a rebuild, bro. But on the other hand, I do. Like, I think you have to break it down. I would say if you just picture our starting 11, like in an ideal world, if everybody's fit, give or take, you know, like for me, just off the top of my head right now, David Raya, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, Lewis Skelly, Martin Odegaard, Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka off the left. I'm going to say Martinelli off the left, but give or take him and Trossard doesn't really matter. And again, if everyone's fit, Kai Havertz. Now, we need a number 9. So Kai Havertz, bench settings, that bad boy striker. So that's 1. Martinelli, Trossard, until I see a bit more from you lot. And even with Trossard, I don't know if you're staying. I think we need an upgrade. So insert a left winger. So that's a left winger and a striker immediately. Thomas Partey will be gone next season. So striker, winger, central midfield, let's just say Zubimendi. So that's 3. Personally, I think we need another goalkeeper or 2. I do think we're going to loan out Tommy Setford. So you probably need a number two, experienced number two, and somebody to make up the gap as a second and third choice. Maybe we go for that Dan Bentley guy from Wolves again. You get this Garcia lad, and Wolves finally sell us Bentley. I do think we could do with another versatile defender. So I'm just going to say defender. So that's 2 goalies, a defender, a winger, a striker. Wait, centre mid, 2 goalies, winger, striker. About 5, 6. And then it's just a case of buffering the squad, if I'm completely honest with you, because we ain't got enough numbers. But I would say we need about 2 to 3 signings. 3 signings because Partey's gone. You need 3 signings to that immediate 11 for me if we're serious. Barter will bring big names in the summer. I hear you, and we all want big names, but I just want the right players, man. I just want players that are going to impact and take us to the next level. Big up yourself, large up yourself, Killy. Ticket prices raised again. These owners showcase pure greed. Everything's going up in life. On one hand, things cost more to produce. Business is business. And at the same time, football mirrors society. Everything's going up. Our energy bills are going up and up and up, and we're not getting much value. The fat cats that are shareholders in this country, they're somehow announcing record profits. Every business is passing down the cost. You go in Sainsbury's, any supermarket, you see things are going up. Everything just gets passed down to the consumer. And like football is one of the best things. There's people that are probably struggling financially. They're not giving up their season ticket. Football's an illogical game. There's men and women out there that would cheat on their partner, wouldn't dare support another club. And I only mention that not to be funny, just to show you like how mad it is. People are always going to want to watch their football club. It's the one variable. Obviously, football changes, clubs change. You know, we've seen big clubs in this country get relegated and all that. But it's the one variable that isn't going to change in your life, quote unquote. If we sold better from our academy, then I wouldn't be interested in projects because I'd be able to fathom us having the cash flow to sign a Gyökeres or an Isaac without sweating the deals. It's a shame that's it, man. DG, I want KSE gone, bro. Give me Qataris. I want the Arab money. You and me both, but it's a pipe dream, man. They ain't going nowhere. So we're just going to have to find a way to win within the contexts of them. We have the worst owners in the history of football. What crimes did we commit in the past to get these men as owners? I think that's a stretch slightly about the worst, but yeah, where my club's concerned, it's been poison. Yeah, sound been good from the start, DG. No issues here. Appreciate that. Give me the project players because I know well enough without them we won't get anywhere. More Marinos, more Jesuses, more Trossards. That's what we get if we aren't interested in project players. We ain't ever winning. How can trophies be a bonus? From when they say business trophy is a bonus, we're done for. But done for, bro. We need Nepan as well. If he costs 17 million, he'll save us 83 million in 3 years' time. 83 million, we would never have to spend either because we'd be fishing for more Marinos. I can tell you for free right now, Samu is better than Embuemo, Semenyo, Sesko, Watkins. He's better than a lot of these, man, and he's just 20. For me, I'm past the stage of I want this one, that one. Just get me a player, man. How we not 100 likes yet? You lot boy, innit? Not a coincidence. 3 of our attackers pulled their hamstring. It's way too much intensity on a force. They run like mad, which is true. We ran them into the ground. How am I criticizing the best player in our history? Jealous of what? One player's won it all. The other was a Barclays man at best. I don't know. Henry is just a passionate fan. I'm here for it. Arteta is surrounded by yes men with no one to challenge his perceived authority. Salah is older and wasn't running to the ground as a young player. He couldn't even find minutes at Chelsea. If he found Saka type minutes at Chelsea when he was there, then he would be getting the hammy. Us Arsenal fans are too soft, and Omri is absolutely right. King wants Arsenal to be better. What has Arteta done for the club versus Omri? And there's everyone's answer. Arteta's cult throwing our biggest legend under a bus for fair criticism. But the thing is, they'd be calling him a messiah if he was just gassing it all up. He's spot on. I don't think people have the right to criticize whatever Omri's saying, but for me, it's a thing of what has he said? One people are like, oh, you're jealous. I hear it. The takeover, Daniel Ek, maybe it could have been that. Omri has previously, many years ago, says he wants to be Arsenal manager, but why would he be jealous? Don't make sense, man. I don't think Berta would want Ancelotti or Allegri to manage Arsenal because they're Italian. I'm not sure on that. DG, realistically, what do you think our summer budget is? Everyone thinks it'll be an unprecedented summer transfer war chest. I don't know for exact figures, but probably on brand with what we've seen a couple of times, maybe 200 odd million odd quid, give or take. Anything beyond that's a bonus. We gave a janitor the job of a principal where Edu is concerned. Now we have a real principal ready to come in, Berta, but we're looking to hire a groundskeeper. Smash the likes, people. Power to the chat. Big up yourself. Love Arsenal, hate the ops. Love the name. Timber Gabby Wanyeri. I hear it, man. Big up Shane Gooner. Got to be Barter. No one else will do it. The rest will be overruled by Arteta. But Berta could get overruled same way, you know. He could have all the ideas, all the contacts, know the players, all the experience. If he's if it's if you have another Kai Havertz situation where Berta is saying, you know what, I hear what you're saying, Arteta, you're presenting a good project, but I think we should do this. Arteta is still adamant. It goes to a decision of the Cronkies. They go with Arteta. Where does that leave us? I would like them to challenge each other, because likewise, there might be sometimes Arteta wants one thing, these lot are saying something else. We need to get there. We need to get back into that scenario. So let's see what Berta's on, man. Big up yourself, George. The club is doing a lot of talk about potential recruitments in both upper management and the playing staff, but are we actually going to get any of these names we're linked with? That's why I always say I'm more than happy to talk about the rumors and all of that. But as for that's as far as it goes. We need to see them signing for the club before we get anywhere. Summer let the season down. January had no hope. I hear that. You know what? It's upsetting that I can't disagree with that. Us Arsenal fans, I feel Arsenal fans, we have been sold a dream. I feel the players have been sold a dream. Arteta, you have to hold a lot. The owners and everybody in between, you have to hold a lot. Some are easy. If we signed the positions we actually needed, we would have been better we would have been in better state. How did you lot answer anyways? Let's see. Well, interestingly, I would say summer, but at the moment, January's winning 52%, and it's flickering, but 52% are saying January, 48% are saying the summer. Interesting. So a lot of you are more disappointed in January, maybe because it was kind of like last chance saloon kind of thing. My next summer targets are Garcia, Zubamendi, Kimmich, Williams, Semenyo, and Sesko. We're not spending that kind of bread, bro. We're not giving Kimmich the mad money he wants. On top of, signing Nico Williams going to be on mad money as well. We're not doing it. The Kimmich thing is just paper talk. I'd love to be wrong. I would not be against Kimmich, proven win, all that jazz. Swear he scored against us, or he did something against us in the 2 legs last year. I could be making all that up. The summer annoyed me in terms of incomings. Dragged our heels, man. Watching the Liverpool game last night, Ethan looks better than Bacola, and people rate Bacola. Ethan needs to get that new deal. Look at Marcel, you man are really deluded. This guy never takes a day off. We'll see Ethan's true colours next season. 1 season is enough for me, but def see the potential. I hear that. I hope they don't get called up by England yet. Their workload is too much already for their age. Personally, I'm always conflicted when the man them, whatever the age, they get called up, because we all know what's going to happen as soon as England get KO'd. But at the same time, it's their career. So from a football standpoint, I get the why risk the effery that comes with playing for this country. And it's a problem in this land, man. They build you up to tear you down, man. You're the best thing since sliced bread and football fans do it. Not just England, football fans do it, but it's the belly of the beast. Might be unpopular, but I'd go big for Rodrigo than Isaac. You need big money for both, man. And respectfully to Newcastle, in theory, if you're putting down big bucks, who's more likely to leave their current clubs? Real Madrid or Newcastle? Yeah, you might get a Di Maria Ozil kind of situation, and Rodrigo might be, you'd have to get in his ear, get our Brazilian players to chat to him, make him feel really underappreciated, gas up London, gas up what Mikel Arteta is doing. And my challenge to you, Rodrigo, is anyone can win when you've been playing with Luka Modric and Toni Kroos and this one and that one. Can you do it at the Emirates against a low block? The choice is yours. That's a real challenge. Can you do it with Kivio? Can you do it with Zinchenko? Can you do it where you've got no space? He'd be perfect, though, man. He'd be perfect. Can play off the right, play off the left. I actually think people underestimate Rodrigo's playmaking abilities in that. He'd be amazing, but the dream is free. The hustle, for real, is sold separately. Subscribe if you haven't already. Rodrigo needs to get out of the Vinny, Mbappe, and Jude's shadows. He's won enough there anyways. There's a bigger chance of Vinny leaving than Rodrigo. Yeah, but that's a Saudi thing. Don't buy Arsenal merch, buy some DG merch instead. I need to get that going again, to be fair. I don't think you can access it at the moment. We don't have the money or pull for Rodrigo. And considering Arteta isn't even willing to convince Nico Williams, we should just forget Rodrigo. Saka's been England's best player, but all you hear is build the team around 47. Yeah, rather Saka rest every international break. January was expected. Upper management knew they goofed in the summer, so didn't bother in Jan. If we ran the summer correctly and were realistically in a title fight, we would have spent. I think if we weren't getting top 4, we would have spent, if I'm honest. I agree with that. I'm more disappointed in the summer. I'm just bewildered about January. We've shown at times, many a time, that we won't sign people in January. We won't make signings, even though we need to, if it doesn't make sense. But I just thought, like, whatever I think about you lot, and however, whatever my ambitions and your ambitions, and how we would want to go about this, and how they go about it, and it's clearly a conflict going back to the summer. I thought, surely, like, bro, we're having conversations about Mourinho up front. You've got Champions League. You're on the back burners with Liverpool. This hasn't been a great season by any stretch, but despite in comparison to the previous two title challenges. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, the good, the bad, you at this point you're still within a fighting distance. Jesus is gone, Saka is gone. We obviously we're not future tellers, but we all knew when couple man got injured. Once that window closed, other guys were going to get injured. I thought surely, like, you can look at this team and think, wow, like, whether that's a young player, an experienced player, a lone player, this one, that one, the third, it was desperation settings. With the greatest of respect, in the summer, I don't want to hear about Koulibaly. I don't want to hear about Morata. I don't want to hear about Rashford. I don't want to hear about Asensio. But you see, in Jan, I'm having all of them. Like, we were desperate. Sometimes you need to be humble. And, well, Kvaratskhelia is an anomaly in the sense that I don't think he was a market opportunity, but he was signed for PSG in Jan and did very well yesterday. January signings have made 1-2 impacts, man. Jan is worse because there was possibility to salvage this season. I hear that. Last chance saloon settings. The summer destroyed the season, destroyed our economy for the season, seeing as Nelson and Fabio could only be loaned out and not sold, also kept too many left backs. Jan is worse because the opportunity to solve problems that arose because of the summer were again ignored. Money talks, Arsenal walks. I haven't been pleased with some of Henry's comments over the years, nor do I think he can succeed as a manager, but that doesn't mean he's wrong. Fair play. The club is already short of players. I have no hope that the club will sign 9 players this summer. It'll be interesting to see what happens because we never know, but it's fair to say on paper, well, factually on paper, Jorginho, Tierney, Partey are gone. Trossard's got a year left on his deal in the summer. Between now and then, is he gonna sign? There's one. Kivior, you'd imagine, there's not guaranteed he's gone, but you'd imagine Kivior's gone. You'd imagine Zini's gone. Neto and Sterling are gone on paper. So that's 8 already. It might be a 1-2. Tommy Asu and Jesus, their futures would have. I love Tommy, but injuries. Jesus the same. If they had never had injuries, we might be having different conversations. They're not getting sold or flogged anywhere. I was just about to say until I done that, like, it would have probably made more sense if we quote unquote did the non-sellables really. And obviously, even that, for every report we hear that Martinelli could leave, there's no guarantee he's going to leave, and there's no guarantee we're going to push him out the door. And we're not going to see Trossard and Martinelli leave. So I have to see, bro. I'm so glad that dude's gone. One less person to blame. Bro, they're increasing ticket prices with showing ambition. Business is business. I get it. But these is just leech behavior with nothing to show for it. Look at City, for instance. They want success because their owners really want it. Oh, shit. DG must do a show with culture cams that would be straight ball talk. He'd have to reply to his messages, man. That's why I don't take nothing personal. Do you know, there's not one single one of these content creators that hasn't, trust me. Shout out Cams, though, man. Respect to Ron Breaker. Shout him, man. DG, how about our boy Vitaya? Balled out, man. Like, PSG were the better team, but didn't put the ball in the back of the net. It was like watching almost Arsenal elements. And on the best of days, we know Liverpool do that comeback king stuff. We all knew Liverpool were going to bag. And to be fair, Ancelotti, managerial masterclass. Donnarumma is shit, by the way, but managerial masterclass. Harvey Elliott and Darwin Núñez combined. Sometimes you need your goalie to just get you through it. Alisson was Liverpool's man of the match. I actually think Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's not praised for it too much, and it's not a strong point, but he was great defensively against PSG. It was a good game of football, man. But you don't put the ball in the back of the net, which arguably is the hardest thing to do in football. Imagine needing a rebuild of a squad that was rebuilt. It's insane. That's Arsenal. We do insane stuff, man. Definitely need an upgrade on the left flank. We need to effing sort out the left-hand side. Of course, Lewis Skelly's emerged. Calafiori's come in. We know Rice is probably going to persist as that 8. We're at where we're at the moment with Trossard and Martinelli, and we hope a left winger comes in. But Arteta, come on, man. It's been 2 years. A lot of the things, and I know it's not easy and things happen, but a lot of my frustration is it's not. We've not discovered this season that we need a striker, that we need depth, that we need a left winger, that we need to sort out the left-hand side, that we need competition or the ability to remove Odegaard if he isn't doing it. And what we lose if Odegaard loses Saka and Ben White. What happens if them two are, all of these things have been said. A lot from a footballing point that Arteta has to arrest. A lot of the club kind of doing the same old things above Arteta, doing the same old things and expecting something different. Like, a lot of the frustrations for the whole football club for me come with we're doing the same things. and expecting favorable conditions, no referee mishaps, no injuries. The players that showed us a little purple patch are gonna keep doing what they're doing. There's gonna be no setbacks because right now, if Ethan has a bit of a wobble or Lewis Skelly or more so Ethan at the moment, we're in trouble. And like we're going into a potential game against Real Madrid because it's fair to say we're through. All hopes on a young 17-year-old Mikel Merino up front. If Martinelli and Saka are somewhat declared fit between the international break and that game, they're not going to be in the best condition. It's not making sense. It would be very romantic, but how far does it go, man? How far does it go? Mason Mount is on 250 grand. Yeah, if I was Marino, I'm not budging from my 180k. He's on 180k. I told man Alexis Salah stinker and hooked. Henry has never been hooked when in a big game. I like Salah. Apparently, not a single outfield player had a rating less than 7 on Sofa Score and Foot Mod. Imagine that, and you still lose. You got the hardest thing to do in football is put the ball in the back of the net. Did not put the ball in the back of the net. You don't do that. It doesn't matter. Winners win, losers explain, bro. They ain't put the ball in the back of the net, Killy. Allison made a number of big boy saves, but there was an Allison couldn't ask anything more. But there was a number of PSG shots. Allison's probably faced harder shots in training. And now, 0-0 going to Anfield in the second leg's techie. A 1-0 lead is techie. Now they've got to overcome that. They're playing 12 players over there. So they're gonna have to hold that. They compared Salah to Ronaldo and Henry. Do you think these players would ever get subbed in the big game? Salah's a GOAT. For me, he's not Henry. Definitely, no, I don't really care what any stat says. You're not talking to Thierry Henry. You're not talking to Cristiano Ronaldo, but you are a legend. And if people think you're the best ever in the Prem, I can't disagree with that. Salah's done his thing. Quality player, man. Had an off day yesterday. And to be fair, I think Arsenal did the right thing subbing him. It's like you could see your team is taking a lot of punches. He boxed smart. Obviously, they got a bit of fortune. Donnarumma allowed them, but that's what you need. I think they boxed smart. I think he would have liked a bit more from his team individually. Clearly, they wasn't good enough, but they remained pending. They absorbed the pressure. Alisson got them out of trouble. They got one chance. They took it. And that's the positive with Liverpool, because they, by their own standards, they were shit. Jota was crap. Salah was anonymous. I think McAllister put himself a lot more than his teammates, but McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai struggled. I think Trent done well defensively. I didn't think it was a foul, but watching it again when I came off the watch along, Konate maybe got away with murder. Van Dijk weren't terrible, but it weren't a Van Dijk gassing up game. Robertson found it testing against Dembele, but that's how they got out of it. And sometimes that's what you need to do, man. Remember that Morata goal, greatest hate session watch along I've ever done. Atletico Madrid at Anfield, but you don't get that too many times. Salah is sitting at the table as them, man. He might order his drink and food last, but he's at the table. He's at the table. He's definitely at the table. He's definitely at the table. You're not getting a free bottle, but you're there, man. You're there. This PSG team are really good. They were just unlucky. I must admit, I do hate this luck. I shout my guy Catch, by the way. I hate all of this luck and unluck. And you're right. You lot are right. You have to earn. Sometimes you are unlucky. Sometimes you are lucky, but you have to earn all of that, if I'm honest with you. Liverpool earned their luck. At the end of the day, we all say it all the time. PSG, you can't switch off in any game of football. They switched off. Donnarumma's, even against us, Donnarumma's stinking up the place. He's shit. You can't just blame him because the attackers didn't put the ball in the back of the net. PSG probably should have scored about 3, 4, 5, and that should have been a Liverpool consolation. But keeper let them down. Defense let them down. Attackers let themselves down. Liverpool absorbed the pressure. They scored. Winners win, losers explain. And that's what the Champions League's provided. Real Madrid weren't amazing against Atletico. Found a way. 10-man Barcelona found a way. I'm gassing us up a bit. Feeling sorry for ourselves after losing 7-1. Found a way. This is what it's about. And the games are only going to get more tougher if next round, because I think we can say it because we won 7-1. If next round isn't where it ends for us, man. Bro, football is fixed. I can't lie. How many reds should Liverpool have had this year? I'm not gonna sit here and lie, bro. I didn't think there was anything in it the first time I saw the Konate one. But then I watched it on the replay. I thought, oh, I hate to be that Arsenal fan because we always do it. But if it was us, we know it would have been said. Don't remember a time in the Prem where any title challenging side went in a season. What do you mean? You saying that if Saka set 1 foot on a football field this season, Arteta should be fired? I mean, for some of you that have the optimism of Arsenal winning a Champions League, like, can we do it without Saka? Really? 27 plus 2 shots. It's mad, but it's not mad, bro. Arsenal, we've seen that over the years. Wenger, we've maybe not that much. We saw that to a degree against Liverpool at Anfield, Liverpool at the Emirates in the FA Cup. We definitely saw that at West Ham at the Emirates. How many times have we seen that a team gets peppered? Now, 9 times out of 10, PSG would win the game. If that exact game happened 10 times, PSG would win the majority. But this is cup football, and it's about the opposite side of it, and it's those fine margins. It's got nothing to do with Arsenal. But you see, when Arteta speaks about fine margins, we need to be in the shoes that Liverpool were in situations like that. Because when you're playing Real Madrid, you can have all those shots, whatever. At the end of the day, and actually, Arteta said it in his press conference, football's decided in both boxes. You need to be clinical. It's as simple as that. I'm just aware that I'm going live with Zara in a sec, people. So, yeah, the good news is that I'm going. The good news is also that I'm going to be here with Zara. Big up you lot. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's a quick turnaround, people, man. So, yeah, I've actually just seen the time. Time is ticking. But, yeah, on that note, quick turnaround business. Peace.
You always just like,